I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. NBA season is officially underway, and Andrew Kuo and I celebrated like we've never celebrated before in Brooklyn over the past weekend. Did you have a great time with all the friends, all of the friends?
I'm still riding high, man. That was an exciting Saturday afternoon. It was a gorgeous day in New York. As we know, it was the start of the new year, basketball year. A lot of homies came out to Fantasy Explosion. Thank you to Kevin for hosting us. We got some pizzas. We talked about some hoops. We talked about some street stuff and cut it up with a lot of old friends.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who came out. Thanks to people who purchased incredible Cookies Hoops items. And of course, thanks to Fantasy Explosion for allowing us to do a little NBA season opener celebration. And thank you to Andrew Kuo for pulling up with 3 boxes of Chrissy's Pizza. Did the much hyped Greenpoint brick and mortar of Chrissy's Pizza live up to your high towering pizza standards?
Hells yeah. It was delicious. I've been waiting 5 maybe years to sample this delectable slice, and I started following him when he only had a few hundred followers on Instagram. Not to day one myself, but
you invented Chrissy's Pizza is what I'm hearing.
All my criticisms come from a courageous and brave place, and they're small criticisms, but it was something I followed when he was baking pizzas in his like crappy rental apartment gas oven and producing like 1 pizza at a time. You come downstairs masked up and he would hand you a pizza and you sign up, and it got out of hand. He started renting the Superiority Burger spot, shout out to Brooks, and then opened up a brick and mortar near in Dietrichville in the Kami corridor. And it was delicious. They don't sell slices, they only sell pies, which is my complaint. I think the physical structure of a pie eats different than when you make a pie for slices and they're reheated. It was delicious. Left alone to my own devices, I could probably eat a whole thing myself.
This is why I have not eaten as much Chrissy's Pizza as one would expect, considering my relative proximity to the brick and mortar, is that the lines are not a big deal. I'm not daunted by that because I can just walk over there at a weird time. Oh, it's lightly raining out? Boom, no line. I just don't have the use for 8 slices because I'm fearful that I will eat too many of them.
It happens to the best of us, man. I think I had 4, but I freeze them. I kind of do other stuff. But do you know what I mean by the taste and feel of a walk-in slice versus a whole pie? Like, it's just a different thing.
Absolutely, and I'm with you. I think if it was a slice place, I would have eaten there dozens, if not hundreds of times already. If it was, actually, I can walk and then I probably don't need lunch and I'll just eat the slice as I bask upon the glory of McGinnis Avenue.
Yeah, right. And, another hot pizza spot reviewed by Dave Portnoy as well. Series Pizza went from slice to pies only. And when you're the supreme of any industry, if you're going to sell out, you might as well just do that. I think it's reflective of costs of business and their audience. But I kind of want to talk about McGinnis and how it's very Chinese, and stay with me here. The Chinese, as they say, I didn't come up with this idea. If they see a gas station, if a Western person sees a gas station on a highway, killing it, they'll be like, "What? I'll open up a motel. I'll open up a supermarket. I'll open up a bar, whatever." Things are happening in this 100 or this mile radius. Chinese look at it and be like, "We'll open up a gas station. We'll open up a gas station. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna open up a gas station." McGinnis has tons of pizza, dude. It's paved with za.
Well, let's just get our perpendicular streets right, because
Oh, my
McGinnis
bad.
is the 2-lane that was 4-lane, but lots of controversy about it, and it's full of gas stations. But you're thinking of Nassau, which is a
I am
prime
thinking of
commie
Nassau.
corridor, because Nassau is the one that runs essentially through Williamsburg out towards Bed-Stuy as Bedford. It's kind of the same
Okay.
street, but so Bedford, one of the most famous streets from the Williamsburg era, but also it goes out
It
through
goes
Crown
far.
Heights, etc. But Nassau is, I guess you'd call it an extension of Bedford, because I do believe Bedford technically ends right at Manhattan Avenue. But yes, so
Google Maps over here.
if I told you about the Greenpoint streets being alphabetical, have we talked about this in
Yeah.
the pod?
But you can say it
Okay.
again. It's okay.
Well, I mean, I kind of just said it. The streets are alphabetical. If you go
Okay.
from Ash Street all the way to, I guess it would be Quay Street, alphabetical, all of them. Anyway,
So should
along the
Nassau
water,
be P? Should they break it up and be P for pizza?
Pizza Street. That's the other side of Greenpoint. But yes, this side of Nassau, the McGinnis side, the McGorlick side, there's nothing to eat except for 5 pizza places.
There's a lot. I was walking out with my 3 pies, like treasures. I was like, I fucking did it. I had that dog in me. And I looked to my right, packed pizza spot. I looked to my left, a lovely old looking old timey pizza spot. I looked ahead, more pizza. And I was joyous, right? I love when neighborhoods are like, let's be the rice noodle block. Let's just call this, let's pave the streets with rice noodles, like little Paris. So there's 2 of us here. You might as well like get 4 other people. I want Basketball City for real, for real, for real. I want beef noodle soupville. I want Brunson Boulevard. I want all these things.
The problem here lies with, as a local, the lack of other options. But pizza's a tricky one because you don't really go out to the pizza district and try different pizzas. You have to diversify into La Linguine or La Raviole or
Depends on what the audience wants. You're a real
you know what I mean?
communist.
No, like
Yeah.
you gotta go Little Italy. Then we're gonna go to the butcher shop and the cheese spot, and then we'll get our pizzas and our pastas.
But no one rolls up to New Haven being like, damn, I really want to try those calzones. Where can I get them? Right? It's just like 5 of the same pizza spots, famous.
This is true. But I do want to roll up to Newark nonetheless, or New Haven, excuse me.
Yeah, we got to do that. It was awesome. I really love Chrissy's Pizza. I would absolutely eat that every day of my life if I could. You live in a great neighborhood. I love that place.
Good spot. But most of our time, I think for both of us, is less spent pounding the pavement. Instead, we're at home, gooning, pounding the something else.
Does this
read
mean watching the Houston Rockets play excitedly for a long time?
It's about watching back-to-back Orlando Magic games over and over and over.
All right. Can you explain? I'll put this burden on you. What is gooning?
Well, the phrase gooning has been around for a few years as internet-heavy slang. And I'm not a footy fan, no Nick Nurse, but fans of one of the famous British teams are called gooners too. So there's been this sort of comedic overlap with like Anne Hathaway's like, I'm a true gooner, and everyone's like, oh, that's funny because it also has this other meaning.
Yeah. And slang back in the day, a goon was a henchman, someone who likes to fight, one of your friends who is always scrapping at the wrong time or the right time, a hockey player who you send in to knock the other goon out.
Right. Hockey goons were probably, or mafia goons, like heavies in old school slang. And then it kind of replaced thugs when thugs took on like an ugly connotation post that word being popular within rap. and then even like Dipset, like the Goonies, like the Goons. It became like a fun slang word, like and then now it took on another meaning. In some ways, it reminds me a little bit of how the word fuckboy transformed several times over, and it initially was, an insult, a homophobic insult, a derogatory way to talk about another man, to then it became like a cute boy who won't call you back and like has lots of girls. Like the exact opposite. It got transfigured through the internet. And this is sort of the same, but even different. It was never misused. It just got turned into a different phrase. But it's like, yeah, we're gooning in the club. It's like, all right, you got to really clarify.
Pump your brakes, Nick Nurse. I first heard about this phrase when that guy pulled up to I didn't know two things existed when I saw this story. That guy in his car gooning while getting a coffee from a drive-in bikini coffee place in LA, and then like tragically like pulls over and ultimately goons himself forever. And I was not aware of all this stuff, and I thought it was a less fascinating evolution of an idea than fuckboy was.
When I became aware of the phrase gooning, it struck me as one of those phrases that may not actually be true per se, right? There was all these sexual terms, like the Cleveland steamer, whatever, all these like, they come up with
Kentucky
terms
wristwatch
for extremely graphic
funny
sexual acts that people probably did not do. And there was another one recently that
Dirty
came
Sanchez
around, that kind of stuff. And there was one that got some popularity, and I'm like, I forget exactly what it was, but it was like, you dig up a corpse, and that, it like,
oh my God,
these things are like fictionalized, gruesome ideas. And I kind of thought the idea of gooning was making fun of like someone who's just like jerking off too much. I didn't know that there was this idea of, no, we're actually going to be there, like putting in that elbow grease for like a day and a half. I thought it was like a punchline versus a practice.
Gavin McInnes, right? Like deplorable dude, kind of funny in a deeply foreshadowing way. I believe that the Proud Boys was a joke, that he was just kind of riffing on that, about like, oh, you have to be, you cannot have, make love to your wife on these days, and you cannot goon or JO 10 feet from them. Like he was just having fun with this idea, and a bunch of morons, illiterate in terms of culture, morons were like, goons, future goons of the USA were like, this is fascinating. This is a movement. This is about the id, superego. This is Freud, whatever. Misreading the whole thing, where I think, in my opinion, Gavin was like, that was a joke, but if I'm going to get rich and continue this joke on a national level, I'm going to keep going. And then he stopped, right? And
stand down and stand by, goons.
I mean, if you go to his podcast, it's like, we're talking misfits for 2 hours. Like he's kind of abandoned the politics a bit. Whether that be peer pressure or his heart, I have no idea. I don't care. I don't like him. But the gooning thing seems like a joke, like many movements are, a joke that had maybe taken the wrong turn and turned into something that was maybe communal and like an antidote of sadness.
So this has been tied in via this Harper's magazine article that just came out last week and went very viral, tying it into
people love
discussions
this
about
you want to go viral, talk about JOing,
about male loneliness, and
right.
that this is, in the words of one commenter, male loneliness's final boss. You just
how many buzz ideas can you cram into one headline? A cat's in there somewhere.
You're just watching AI porn and jerking off for days on end, and that's male. That's the epidemic.
Yeah.
At Sovereign House,
Yeah.
while listening
While adopting
to
a cat, being single,
reactionary pods, and being Gen Z.
wearing bootcut jeans. I mean, okay, so I've been trying to push this segment not about this topic, but about like my micro observations of the behaviors of Zoomers, right? Who are a developing generation. They're coming up with new ideas in real time as we speak. But this this new kind of antisocial behavior, which is not necessarily as off-putting as previous generations, but this privacy, this internet tinted behavior where, for example, if there's a bottleneck in the subway and they're standing there, a young person be like, I don't want to be talked to. I don't want to be touched. I'm just minding my business. Like, but you're in the way of everybody. Everyone's trying to get in. It's like, I said, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. And it's like kind of an Asian affectation of a lot of immigrants from China, new money, where they'll sit in a restaurant and don't look at the waiter, just like, don't talk to me. I'm not trying to get in your space. I don't want to agitate you. I just want to be left alone. And that is a technological culture that they're coming from. And I feel like it's catching up to Westerners, where there's behavioral things that we learn on social media that are transmuting to real life. And that is minding your own business, not like being annoying about the coding is palpable, in my opinion.
Well, the reason this article also went so viral is because some of the paragraphs are very joyful. Now, just linguistically, I have not thought enough about this to say, here's where they got this article right or wrong. You know, there could be like, they're forgetting the gay element of this. They're forgetting the real gooners, and edging is like a sexual practice versus
gooning
this time wasting endeavor. I just mean,
Yeah.
I could be missing elements to the goonosphere, but there are some great paragraphs. It's like, I decided to try my luck on X, where I found self-described hand pumpers and pump sluts, praising fat, juicy cellulite wobble meat, practicing gooncraft, and thirsting for goonfuel.
These are amazing words. Just poetry.
It has its own lingua franca, if you will.
Yeah. So gooning, to be clear, as this article describes, is not a results-based movement. It is a communal movement with maintenance, right? It's about edging. It's constantly being in a blissful place of goon, which means a place of enlightenment, which means maybe the edge of which human bodies can go is maximizing the human mind.
Well, right. If we go down this goony path, and you think about
Careful.
idea of like
Talking about bonus at center now.
Yeah. Right, post Adem Bona, post nut clarity, post nut clarity.
Yeah,
this is avoiding post nut clarity. This is attempting to stay almost
pre-nut clarity.
But there is no clarity pre-nut. The clarity is only post nut. This is staying within the bliss, within the state of arousal, and almost like a drug.
But isn't that
like
what
the
Sting's
nerdy
whole
version?
thing is? Right.
Right. I'm saying this would be the nerdy version of it. It's not.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
Sting's been talking about this, right? It's not ignorant bliss that is pre-nut. It is a spiritual place that has an intellectual and humanistic peak, right? Isn't Sting's argument?
But this seems, again, not an expert on any of these subjects particularly.
Tell me, firsthand, tell me what this is like.
Well, I'm saying, wouldn't this be different from like tantric sex, which I feel like is what you're talking about?
I don't know.
Which was also based on the same idea of like prolonging your pleasure.
Is he a goon godfather? Is he the godfather goon?
I mean, he very well might be, but this doesn't seem like it has its roots, no pun intended, in the exact same orthodoxy, but it also is not that different in some ways. I think the main issue is that this is a solo endeavor where your partners become other guys who are doing it versus a
Proud Boy
actual
stuff.
physical partner.
Yeah,
Like, look,
I mean, not
if I can't have sex with women, at least I'm going to have sex with my buddy, sort of.
sort of, right? It's like this very Christian idea as well. It's like, oh, I'm still a virgin. It's like, well, tell me how that works. It's like, well, there's a whole handbook about how to do this, but like technically in the eyes of God, I've never had sex, but like, that's when I heard of soaking, which was interesting. But it is us, I love subcultures, right? I thought of everything that creates ideas that incubate without distraction and create a semi fully formed, no pun intended, idea that seems new, seems different, and seems like there was Sting, and then we took Sting and ran with it, right? This one reeks of politics and a kind of loneliness that incels were trying to describe, which isn't as exciting as like rap or punk. This is like some anime stuff, which is like, in my humble opinion, some loser fodder.
I was also going to say the thing to be aware of on any of these subcultural articles, and I'm thinking about this from the perspective of someone who wrote about a lot of subcultures, is that there is this sense of like one-upsmanship within these groups to say more outrageous things, to create more slang, to make it more of a dense subculture versus it being less of a dense subculture. You follow what I mean? It's like,
I do.
Hey, we're into this thing. Like, we're going to see how far we can take this. And that's how you are creative and cool and funny within that online world, is pushing it further and further and further. It's not pushing it less far and back towards the mainstream, which applies to virtually anything. It could be left-wing politics, right-wing politics, whatever. So I'm saying, when like, so I met the Goon father and the Goon did this and the Goon did that. I'm like, yeah, but they're also having fun with this. It's also like clearly a joke fundamentally, even if they are just jerking off all the time.
Not to get lost in the sauce, no pun intended. This is how our podcast works, right? Like, Cat was a good trade.
The Knicks are just edging us for years.
Cat was a good addition to the Knicks. Cat is a really helpful spacer. Cat is an all-star. Cat is an all-NBA player. Cat is the best Knicks player of all time, rafters, jersey, done, right? Like, there's no interesting episode just being like, he's pretty solid. I'm like, say something. It's like, okay, I think Cat's better than Brunson. Like, this is how it kind of forms. And the fascinating thing about this Gooning article is it's been beneath the surface for a while in terms of video games, in terms of Tomb Raider, in terms of entertainment, Hooters, all this stuff. It's like, what if I go eat wings with a semi the whole time? It's like, what? Oh, okay. Who are you eating wings with? It's like, I'm surrounded by beautiful women and all my frat buddies. Like, okay, this is something I don't quite understand. Japan City, there's like a video game / goon mart where there's all these statuettes of like anime characters. Maurizio Catalan, Murakami poked fun at this, like with sculptures, the cowboy sculptures and the woman jumping rope with her own bodily stuff. And this was famous ultra super flat artwork in maybe the late 90s. And it has been bubbling before even the internet existed. And the fact that it maybe takes 30 years for it to coagulate into a movement that Harper's writes about is either a good job by the Gooners or a terrible job by the Gooners.
The article makes the argument as well that there are young men for whom pornography is sustenance enough. And they're saying that may be a problem for that generation. And I mean, this may have always been the case, though, right? When you found your uncle's dirty magazine in the woods, that was his version of gooning.
Easy. I was reading the Tom Wolfe interview, the Q&A with Mike Lupica. That was my gooning. Mike Francesa. 21 questions with Mike Francesa. Let's go.
That's gooning. But this idea that it's not even about being an incel. It's about saying, well, I have this need and it can be fulfilled via 23 rapid video clips of pornography that are being curated by like my buddy from his like private collection.
Does everything need to be a subculture? Can gooners just exist without it having a name, a flag, a team? Like, do you have to identify with another gooner?
Yeah, but they have these like wank battles, man. Like apparently the language really is what creates the subculture.
If they play fantasy gooning,
it's basically fantasy. Yes. That's what this article is.
The draft is insane.
The article is like there's some other people who are only adjacent to the scene and they make money by like curating these like gooning packages for people. And it's like, okay, I'm going to hit you with this like goon collection.
Is gooning a psyop? Because it is an addictive, dark place, sort of like gambling or abstract expressionist painting that will grip your soul and like make it rotten from the inside out. And we'll talk about gambling later, but like profiting off gooners is very cynical, right?
It is a little psyop-y. I mean, when you think about what the threat would be to the existing order of capitalism, the United States, whatever, it would be unhappy, activated young people who are like, you guys have screwed us over. We can't find the jobs we want. We can't have a house. Right. We can't have these things. Right. There are so many issues. You're like, I hear what you're saying, young man, but have you considered jerking off all day to anime? Maybe the cure for what ails you. Just lie in your bed and jerk off. How about that?
Well, it's like, okay, you're a devoted friend, partner, father, son, whatever. And for the person you care about in your life is like, well, I gave up heroin, but I started gooning. You'd be like, you got to shoot up some more. Here's some new needles, man. At least you can kick heroin. You can't really kick gooning.
I was thinking we could take to the streets with armed rebellion and upset the, upset capitalism, turn this into an agrarian communist society. It's like, yeah, but have you considered this computer-generated woman with 7 breasts?
Yeah. Mandami is just like, listen, we have to address the gooner slice of the voting population. So I need to CGI some milkers on my campaign slogans,
I mean, that's definitely more Cuomo pilled.
Shout out to Jeanette Hayes. Yeah.
He loves the AI work and the Pierce nipples. So like we know where he lands on this.
Yeah. And we were talking about the addiction to technology kind of being the precipice for a lot of these ideas and movements. And in another world of addiction and darkness, Bon Appetit magazine, the food journal, right, posted this on Instagram, and it is a clip from a pull quote from an article they ran. It says, "I'm addicted to my phone, as gooners are. Wow, it feels good to say it. This uncomfortable truth sharpened recently when a friend shared her pet peeve about cell phones on the table when dining out with companions. Quote unquote, a phone on the table conveys that the person you're dining with is not fully paying attention to you," she said. And what the hell, dude? What are we writing about these days?
I'm trying to think of the validity of that statement.
There's some skill issues that we got to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never been offended that someone's phone is on the table ever. It's never.
Nope. Don't care.
Like, really? Your phone is out?
Yeah.
I mean, or put your phone away. Either way is okay. It's all right.
Yep.
I would agree that there is an inherent rudeness to checking your phone while you're like in the middle of a conversation. If someone's like, "Hey, I have to tell you, like my mom is dying," and you're like, "Hold on one second, I gotta adjust my lineups." Like, right? It can be viewed as insensitive if you are bad at doing stuff.
Right.
If you lack the capacity to understand when is an inappropriate time to check your phone, I could see this being a real dilemma. Yeah, they were coming clean about how we needed to get a divorce, and I was like, yeah, but I got this gooning article on Harper, so I'm like 6 paragraphs in. I have to finish that.
I gotta keep my semi. Like, I gotta look at these pictures of Sixers players. Like, I gotta go through the roster during this dinner because I don't want to lose this bliss.
Elton, this is serious.
Yeah, Bona, how many minutes did you play? I think I have a couple friends who are really bad at this, and I have dinner with them, and they're on their phones doing dumb stuff as I'm on my phone checking like Yankee scores. But I accept that they're doing dumb stuff because I like them for other reasons. But having dinner with them is like a tick less fun than someone else. I don't want to be Pollyannic and say like don't care. Of course, I notice it, but there's a way to do everything. And like, do we need an article about this? Yeah, we do. That's what we're doing these days. But when I say it's a skill issue, it's like, if you can keep focus on 2 or 3 linear conversations, it's fine. If you cannot, then you're just not like a match for someone else. I don't think it's an epidemic. I think the language of shared interests and behaviors in friendship it cannot be blanketed with an overarching idea.
There's also, I think, different social codes for amounts of people within the dinner group. If it's a one-on-one situation, someone at some point is going to have to use the restroom. That would then be your opportunity to quickly catch up on messages you may have missed.
Keep the semi. Do not use the restroom. Do not do a number 3. Keep the semi.
If you're in a group that's a larger collection, it's sometimes weird when one person decides, I'm going to check my phone, and then everyone does it. You're like, right. We are all absorbing the social cues from everyone around us. And that becomes very strange sometimes when it's a table of 5 people and everyone just quietly checks their phones. And then they put it back down and they go back to conversation, which, okay, that was effective. We did it. We all scratched that itch. But I don't think that's the same as phone addiction. I think that's like, hey, well, they're interwoven. I mean, it may be, no, I have to tell like my significant other when I'm going to be home, or I have to meet somebody after this, or I have to tell someone a work thing. But ultimately, probably all that stuff could also wait until dinner was over.
Yeah, I mean, I have a slight awareness when I'm out that I might have to go home immediately because I have small children. So I check my phone every few minutes just in case. It's like, please come home. I'm like, I'm out. I just watched the House of Dynamite, that Catherine Bigelow movie about a nuclear issue in America. It's procedural, complicated, kind of dumb, kind of a fun watch. The president is a grime DJ or a famous DJ, Idris Elba. 2 actors from The Wire are in the movie.
Like Goldie is the president? I would vote Goldie.
LTJ Bucco, Commander-in-Chief. Let's go. But it was interesting in this conversation because there's experts just hanging out at Gettysburg reenactment being like, why is my phone blowing up? It's like, get to a phone, we're under nuclear attack. And she's like, this has to be a joke. This is my day off. Like, it depends on your job, right? And there's a lot of wars happening in everyone's life and a lot of nuclear bombs dropping on your social, home, sports, entertainment lives. It's like, oh my God, did you hear Danny Ainge died? And everyone's phone starts buzzing, right? We've all been there. And it's tempting. And there is an addiction there. But it is a skill issue. At some point 5 years ago, I was so into Twitter, I was just staring at it longer than I should have. And then I just stop doing it. I hate to be all Tyler the Creator here, but like, turn off your phone.
The compulsiveness to check and make sure there isn't a nuclear attack is kind of at the root of this problem in some ways. It's like, well, I just had to make sure there wasn't a nuke. Every 7 minutes, I had to look at my phone to make sure there's no nuclear bomb. Well, has there ever been a nuclear bomb? No, but that's because I'm checking my phone every 7 minutes. Like, thank God for me. I've been able to prevent that nuclear holocaust by diligently making sure that all I'm getting is gooning messages from my gooning curator.
Hold on, Ben. I'm getting a shams bomb, a nuclear shams bomb. Quentin Grimes has not been signed yet. Oh, I'm glad I.
Okay. It's just a regular bomb. It wasn't a nuke.
Yeah. But I have to check because in a minute there might be an actual shams nuke.
The funniest thing is, basketball-wise, the only nuke was the Luka nuke, the Luka Doncic. And
I don't know. When Anunoby got traded, you texted me, and I was at a lovely dim sum brunch with my family, and I went, "Oh damn!" I was nuked.
The real nuke, though, the Luka one, I was asleep for it. It didn't matter how many times I checked my phone. I was slumbered right through it. I woke up in the morning, and I was like, "Did someone die?" My entire phone was just messages, and like people saying, "Is it true?" I'm like,
Yeah.
No, Andrew, no. Did Ainge die last night?
I mean, I had that feeling last night, right? Because I was in a heated gambling matchup, and I had some Austin Reeves stock, and I was watching the game, and I was like, he's shot 9 free throws. He shot 10 free throws. He's up to 12. This is looking good. I was like, gotta go to bed. And I woke up, and he had 51. I'm like, same thing, same outcome. I didn't have to watch it. It's the same outcome.
Well, that's very true. I mean, I also think there's no doubt that we are addicted to our phones in some ways, where I think someone said it was like, yeah, the biggest thing is like, it would be crazy to go into the bathroom without your phone. Like, right. What's a habit that virtually no one had, you know,
Excuse me, sir. Yeah. I have Red Zone for gooning. I have like 15 screens in my bathroom.
For all of humanity leading up until like 15 years ago, the idea of like maybe someone would have a landline in their bathroom, like maybe so I could, or they would take in their portable ones that you had to charge, and they're in the little saddles. But the idea of like you're going to spend like a few minutes in the bathroom on the toilet without a phone, like what are you going to do? Stare at the towel rack?
I mean, that's what years and years of piled up unread New Yorker magazines are for. It was a common thing in every New York bathroom for years before the digital subscription started.
That's what I mean.
Art Forum, yeah. No, I guess I'm gonna read about Gerhard Richter now, and take a number 5.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that I became interested in metrics and stats was because the baseball abstract had a permanent back of the toilet or magazine rack spot growing up.
I mean, not to get too stony, but like that starts a whole movement. And like Vice magazine in everyone's bathroom, it was designed to be bathroom reading, kind of. Starts the Proud Boys. Donald Trump is president. Your rights are getting taken away. Maybe you shouldn't have been reading Vice while taking a shit.
When we were creating The Joy of Basketball, we were very certain we wanted to create a toilet book.
It's the way to everyone's heart, as the Gooners would say. That's where the money is.
That's where the money is, the toilet books. But now it's not. Now everyone just has their phone. Back in the day, that was a gold mine.
Ooh, yeah.
Dig deep. Oh, by the way, you brought it up last week. The HBO show with Tim Robinson, the chair company. And I said I wasn't quite in the mood for it, which was true. I watched some of the first 5 minutes of it, and it had that, oh, this is abrasive, this is uncomfortable, this is rough. And it reminded me of some of his sketch comedy, which sometimes brilliant, but sometimes, okay, he's playing a detestable, really annoying, weird character, and you're going to get like 3 minutes of it.
Antisocial. Yeah.
And I thought, someone who, of course, does not understand social cues, and that's the entire situation. And that opening scene in the restaurant was reminiscent of that. And in my mind, I was thinking, 30 minutes of this guy? But I watched the first couple episodes, including the third one last night. It's very good. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's good. It has structure in the way his show didn't. It kind of reels him in a bit. His standalone show before the Chair Company was a bit scattered. It was chaotic. It was skits. You had to reset your brain with the context you're talking about. Like, what is this antisocial dude gonna do now? It's like Portlandia. It's like, oh, here's another scenario where this antisocial dude unravels. But in the Chair Company, it's like a different kind of melancholy. It is a story about a man who believes he has humiliated himself publicly in his workplace and de-evolves into a very revealing conspiracy theory about a chair company. And things start unfolding that seem real to the viewer and seem real to him, but it might be a product of his insanity. I think it is a deeply effective show in that it makes me sad. It makes me so depressed, sort of like Get a Life or Cabin Boy. Of course, there's laughs, LAFF, but like, damn, like there is some pessimism happening.
Right, as you mentioned, he is driven by a desire to find someone culpable for the workplace shame that he has experienced, which could have just been laughed off. But
he fell off of a chair and broke it.
Right, and he could have been like, wow, that was embarrassing. But he's unable to get over that without finding someone to blame for this, which opens up this, rabbit warren, worms hole, whatever you want to call it. Sure. That becomes very conspiratorial, and it's unclear what is the product of him and his actions versus what is a sinister conspiracy. Like, is this deraveling of his life solely because he has gone down this hole towards an anonymous LLC, or is it because there are actual malevolent characters at play? And I like that the call and getting nothing, and then the internet getting nothing, and I'm like, this does ring true though, because these ideas of companies within companies with like boards that don't exist, nothing like this sort of shell company shell game, if you will. Like, right. There's no one to reach. There's no one to talk to. There's no one that can help you. You're going to send an email and no one will get back to you. It's like if you order the wrong size of a Cookies Hoops shirt.
Mm-hmm. Instant help. It's so different, right? Total customer opposite. Service, yeah. A+. Yeah, we're checking those DMs. The interns are at work. I mean, not everything needs a heavy reading, but I think Tim Robinson might. This kind of comedy might. Seinfeld, however despicable of a human he's revealed to be, or how interesting his perspective was, like, I think there's a through line between what Larry David was trying to do in his work to this, which is like the incident, the humiliation was always there. You are weird. What happened to you does not matter. The social indiscretions aren't the joke. You are the joke, which is sad. And I think the idea of the conspiracy is interesting because it is less a commentary than it is a culture and a vibe. I just watched Weapons for the first time. It was started streaming this weekend. And what got me was like maybe the literacy or lack of literacy I have. okay, this is a movie about a conspiracy, weapons. It's called Weapons. A group of kids disappear from one classroom. Okay, do you guys get it? There's a spinning AR-15 above a house. Do you get it? Like, this is about gun violence. And everyone's like, well, is it about liberals? Because the villain's on a spectrum. It's like, is Tim Robinson talking about a conspiracy with capitalism? Like, no. Tim Robinson is talking about schizophrenia and depression.
Yeah, that's a well. The Seinfeld comparison makes a lot of sense in retrospect when you think about how many plot lines started with a minor slight, a minor embarrassment, whether it's or the Larry David show. I mean, to me, this is a Larry David thing. It's not a Jerry Seinfeld thing. He was just a
Seinfeld is brilliant, though. We can't take that away. He's a Mets fan, but he's brilliant.
I'm not even taking any of that away. I mean,
Yeah.
Larry David is the guy for that.
He's a genius.
Okay, I got in this brief exchange that started out innocuous and ended up with a misunderstanding, and that then was the flapping wings of the butterfly that led to my house going up in flames later on. And that's kind of what the premise of the chair company is really.
Yeah, or Married with Children. Like, this was a kind of comedic tradition to talk about it. It's just like, how did I get here? It's just like, you're a shoe salesman. But really how you got here was you were a star quarterback. Like, the joke is sad. And I love that stuff. Mocha Joe wasn't hilarious because the character of Mocha Joe was funny. It was hilarious because it was depressing. It's like, oh my God, you have devoured the thing we are all tempted to devour, checking our phones, gooning, whatever. You have gone into the rage hole of being like, I have like a weird relationship with my coffee person, into like, does that coffee person want to kill me? It's awesome.
The only issue that I had with Weapons was that I know a lot of people haven't seen it. I'm trying to keep it spoiler free. But the villain's power, like kind of unstoppable power.
You mean being from Russia, being Steel's god, a Block's king, playing for the Utah Jazz? His power was pretty unstoppable, underrated, as written in The Joy of Basketball.
The villain of Andrei Kirilenko, exactly.
AK-47.
I liked it. I thought there's this new crop of horror directors, and I'm a bit skeptical of some of them, but that was pretty good. I thought there's a director who also different director who did like Midsummer and then a few of those, and this is the other guy who did Hereditary, and this is the one who did Barbarian. So like, yeah, they're two sort of younger, up and coming horror mavens. It was okay.
I agree. I think there is a mechanical issue with horror movies, even with Jordan Peele's work. I kind of like his stuff, his later stuff, but the first half of Weapons was haunting, scary, and like, what the hell, right? Awesome watching these children run from houses. I thought that was a memorable image, powerful enough to just end the movie there. Like, Catherine Bigelow kind of plays with this. Like, does the nuke fall? No spoilers. We don't know, right? Her story just ends. And I think
that might be a huge spoiler.
So what? You should have watched it. It dropped on Friday. We'll call this episode spoilers alerts. But in the 90s, there was a tradition of filmmaking that left open ends. If you're talking about Jim Jarmusch, if you're talking about Todd Solondz, like, well, who gets beat up? Does the villain get her jaw ripped off? It's like, you don't know. It just ends. Does Rocky lose or win? It's like, we don't know. The bell rings and the movie's over. However frustrating that is, I thought that was a wonderful way to tell a story if it's done right. With all these movies, or the horror movies you mentioned, such great ideas. You could see the IPO in that room be like, this is a movie about gun violence where the kids flee at night. Like, I'm scared just you telling me. How are we going to murder the bad guy at the end? It's like, well, we're going to rip her face off. I'm like, I guess we have to do it. Where's the CGI assault rifle above the house to bring it really home?
But even with, I guess you could say that Haneke's Cachet, just an example. We were talking. I always bring up Haneke because I was on a little Haneke kick lately.
He's a master.
But
he's a master.
But you know, Hidden or Cachet, however, the same movie, different title, different language, but they don't explain anything in that.
You don't need to.
The
swimming pool.
No, you don't know who is working together. You don't know who is recording the family. They just don't tell you. It's like, okay, well, this happened. You can come up with a guess if you'd like.
Yeah.
You could venture an educated guess and you'd probably feel comfortable with that, but he doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Also, horror stuff, man. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Speak No Evil.
Many years ago.
There's a foreign version and then there's the American version. And me, as someone who does not deliver spoilers as flippantly as my co-host, the foreign version of Speak No Evil, which was the original, has a shocking ending. Apparently, the U.S. remake, which I have not seen, turns it into a happy ending.
This is Brazil,
Why would you
right?
do that? Why would you do that? This is what I mean. Why would you do that? You take this memorably shocking movie and you make it a happy ending?
Producers, money, being like, I don't like the ending of Brazil. I don't want this, no spoilers for a movie that came out 30 years ago, 40. I don't want this to be a hallucination of some man dying. I want it to be a glorious, beautiful, triumphant thing. I put $4 million into this, man. You do what I say, right? It is just money. Netflix probably, or whoever paid for Bigelow's salary or the weapons bidding war for that script, was probably like, you need to show an AR-15 because people aren't really going to get it. It's like, well, I don't want to call the movie Weapons. Like, you have to call it Weapons because it's going to be too confusing for people watching it. This is like the compromise of art that's supposed to generate capital versus art that doesn't, right? Like, I inhabit a world of art where it doesn't have to solve itself. That's design. The world I inhabit can have loose ties and they unravel, and that's the success of contemporary visual painting, sculpture, filmmaking, whatever. The clock, right? There's no punchline of the clock. The first minute of that movie is the whole movie. So I think it's commerce, and I think it's filmmaking as design, which is a whole pod in itself.
So didn't the U.S. version of Old Boy dramatically change?
Spike Lee?
Yeah. Knicks fan, Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Didn't they just get rid of like the entire incest element?
No,
Or
it was
change
there.
it up?
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, starring Josh Brolin from Weapons.
That's why I was thinking about it, yeah.
Meanwhile, there's detail in Weapons, which I couldn't stand, was like, your kid runs away from home and the parents are like, why can't you just go to work and shake it off? I'm like, that doesn't seem realistic. Josh Brolin looks at his empty son's bed and be like, I wish I said I loved you. I'm like, you don't say that 20 times a day? Josh Brolin, you were in Goonies. You were the original Gooner. You have love everywhere. Constantly.
Also,
semi-love everywhere.
Not a spoiler, but not at all, because it happens right away. Everyone being mad at the teacher just didn't ring true. You're watching this, like, I get what you're setting up, and you're creating this character and this hostility in the town, and of course this ends up with Josh Brolin and so forth. But I'm watching everyone yelling at her, like, nah, I don't. That doesn't really make any sense. I don't get it. Her boss talking to her, yeah, you should take some time off. Nope, none of this makes sense. No, that's not how people would react. That's not what would have happened. No.
Yeah. They should have had a spinning book over her head, though. A CGI spinning book, a banned book, a Catcher in the Rye or something.
Over the school.
Yeah. It's just like, what's that spinning book above your head. Is it banned? It's like, get off my back, community. It's a hillbilly elegy.
I did not, however, have a bad time watching that movie. I think I would put it into the category of enjoyed.
Yeah, I enjoy all these movies. I've been watching old movies, like heavy old movies, but I rewatched Paris, Texas the other day. Gorgeous. Vin Vendors, like, still celebrated film, and people always bring it up, and I rewatched it, and I'm like, man, maybe I'm addicted to some Jason Bourne stuff because not enough is happening. I love a beautiful skyline. I'm a fan of the Denver Nuggets. But can you introduce a Jokic character that yams on people? Because this is going a little slow for me.
It's just weird to me that people are even still talking about Jokic. I honestly don't even remember that guy. We've moved on. He is a superstar of the past. The new NBA, VJ Edgecombe, his league. It's all very obvious now. But before we talk NBA, we would be remiss to not talk about the biggest story of this week. And it's not VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe? It's about the FBI gambling sting.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Cookies season preview. You're talking about gambling. You're talking Billups.
Yes. First, you are correct. Season preview. You can read it for free on the Cookies Hoops Patreon. There are beautiful graphics.
And words.
Very excellent writing. Small. Take a little time. Very insightful. Very correct, really, from what I noticed. When I took a cursory glance at it, I just noticed how verified and authenticated its correct takes were.
Go to the site to see the wonderful words written about Victor Wembanyama, and stay for a chart about who's a joke in the eyes of the interns. I believe someone is muted.
Yes. So, again, for free, on the Cookies Hoops Patreon, goon out to it however you want to enjoy that
No judgment
content. It's there.
Yeah.
So, yes, now we'll talk the talk. The FBI gambling sting. I'm not talking about the scandal that brought in former Celtic Big Baby. I'm talking about the one with former Celtic Chauncey Billups that also ties into former Celtic Terry Rozier and may even involve people like former Celtic Kevin Garnett. There are just so much toxicity that flows from the reach of the little green hand in this story.
Yeah, the corruption starts from the top of the map down, and the green, as they say. Everyone wants that green. The pot of gold.
At the end of the rainbow?
Gambling rainbow, that's right.
A pot of gambling gold.
That rainbow J that leads to the pot of gold. And we'd be remiss not to mention that during the Malik Beasley news cycle, Pablo Torre did a whole incredible pod about this subject that kind of got a lot of heat this week. 3 months ago, maybe. It was about the inner workings of some alleged indiscretions that Malik Beasley committed, and maybe that's why it affected his free agency. He still currently doesn't have a team. Kind of blew up with Chauncey Billups. The NBA said, Terry Rozier, you are fine. We did an investigation, and you are cleared of all misunderstanding. Same with you, Malik. The FBI, run by your boy Cash, that leprechaun culture, found otherwise. They arrested Billups and they arrested Rozier at their homes for kind of a deep, intricate, perhaps simple gambling plot.
From the best of our understanding, the allegations are two different cases, but they are intertwined. And Chauncey Billups is referenced quite obviously, if not by name, as co-conspirator number 8 in the Terry Rozier
He makes baskets. Yeah.
In the Terry Rozier charges, and then ones with Chauncey Billups are a little more complicated. And his main involvement is in poker games that are high stakes, where they are using an array of gimmicks and gadgets and high-tech spy devices to cheat players. And Billups' role has been the face of this franchise that brings in people like maybe Kevin Garnett and maybe LeBron James and maybe Tyrone Lue, people who Chauncey Billups knows from the world of sports, and this may include
Damon
football
Jones.
players as well. Damon Jones. These guys were used as bait to bring in other athletes who were then robbed of, I'm guessing, a whole lot of money using X-ray specs and like itching powder, whoopee cushions, all types of stuff.
All stuff you have in a shoebox next to your Playboy magazine, a box of stale cigarettes, and a condom you will never use because you're a gooner.
Yeah, they put that itching powder, into your pants.
That Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, upper deck. Let's go.
You can't even focus on your hand.
Barry Bonds, tops 88. Yeah, it is like a 13-year-old version of criminality, right? It's just like, yo, how are we gonna rob this bank? It's like, well, I'll wear a mask that is Ronald Reagan. You wear a mask that's Nixon, and we'll get someone else to wear a mask that's the original George Bush, and then we will put a like laughing gas, and I will get the keys, a big set of prop keys to open the safe. Shout out to Chauncey Billups, man. X-ray specs, like, that is wonderful.
Did you see the video of how the X-ray specs work?
No, is it great?
Well, they also had it as contact lenses. It's more just incredibly
Like black. Is
Yeah,
it like
kind of
black
super-
light? Do you like mark something and you can see them? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that would be the technology. It's pretty lo-fi. They showed
Hype
the deck of
Williams.
cards,
Yeah.
and then they raised the lens up above the camera, and then you can see clearly marked like ace, heart, like those just written on the front of the cards. And I'm like, did you do this with lemon juice and then hold it up to the light?
I wrote you a secret message on top of the secret message where the specs. Oh, it's boobs. It's a drawing of boobs.
I mean, it really is that.
I love
that
it.
was one
It's
of them.
great.
But other ones were like, I believe it was a shuffling machine that could rig
Right.
the deck as it was shuffled. There was something with also an X-ray table. I'm like, these all seem designed to like look at boobs. Everything you've come up with here, like, okay, there's two prongs to this scam. One,
VJ Edgecombe over here. Yeah.
we're ripping off former NBA players for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Second, upskirt videos.
I befriended a magician a few years ago, and he was a world-renowned poker player and more famous for his card counting and memorizing. And I believe he was hired by very important people to like investigate games, and he wrote a book about his skills. And he would tell stories that I was just like, how easy is it to run a table like this? He'd be like, I am not alone. I think I'm the best, but I can take your money. And it was so impressive. He's like, he's out of it. He turns into a wonderful storyteller, playwright, all this stuff. But he was talking about like the tricks of counting cards we're talking degrees away from X-ray specs, but he was just like, I know everybody in the world who can do this, and I know who they're talking to. So if I'm in a casino and I see somebody, I'm like, that's a famous card counter, or he's been hanging out with a famous card counter, beware. And there's ways of like pacing it where you don't take too much money, all this stuff. And it gets me thinking of like the movie Molly's Game, which is based off of a real table that we have friends who are involved with in LA. And I love the detail of that one sucker who gets taken every night, but ends up making connections at the table through entertainment to become a millionaire himself. So it's like, oh, I lost $20,000. Woe was me. Oh, you're gonna make me the coach of a LeBron James team? My name is Damon Jones. Like, I'll take that. That's a few $1,000,000.
It's like the plot to Re-Roundables.
Re-roundables. And this time they're all gooning under the table.
Under the table and gooning. Classic Dave Matthews effort.
Your body is a poker table.
So, one thing about Chauncey
that's John
Billups
Mayer. My bad.
In this, it's John Mayer. Is that Chauncey Billups was been defended by people throughout the basketball community. I cannot believe that Chauncey Billups would be involved in something like this. He's a good guy. He's a respectable
No one
man.
said he's a good guy, except the Blazers.
A few people did, but yeah, whatever. I just mean, sure.
He's famously not a good guy.
That's also something that is very true. But I'm just saying, people were like, he would never do this. It makes no sense. Why would Chauncey Billups, who's the coach of an NBA team, throw this away? Why would he risk his reputation and his career for this? And I look at it, and I'm saying this with no hard evidence to prove it. It's like, well, it sounds to me like he has a huge gambling problem and probably owed these guys a lot of money, getting ripped off the way that they're ripping other people off. And then they said, well, Chauncey, if you don't want to pay us $1.6 million, which you may or may not have access to because you're addicted to gambling, maybe you work it off. Maybe you bring in high rollers. Maybe you partner with us. And that's how this all occurs. I don't think it's like, and I could be wrong, I don't think it was that Chauncey Billups is there coaching a team saying, I need a side hustle. What about cheating other NBA players and coaches out of their money? That seems like a good little side hustle for me. I should do that.
But what about psycho-competitiveness? What about the culture of greed? Billionaires don't need to be trillionaires, but you have people being like, I want to be the first trillionaire. It's like, dude, you are an NBA coach. You do not need to rob your peers of $40,000. But he's like,
unless
but this is me.
But see, I think in that case, we're already talking about the high stakes poker. That's what that was. Mm-hmm. Except this would be the problem with high stakes poker. Like, I'm a hyper competitive NBA player. I need that adrenaline boost. I'm high stakes gambling. I'm addicted to this. And now I owe mobsters lots and lots and lots of money.
And I don't want to pay minor league baseball for the White Sox, right? And like the minute the Rozier thing comes out, and of course, Jonte Porter, we got to talk about that. And the minute the Rozier thing comes out, it's like, well, did he commit these indiscretions in Miami or was this Charlotte? And isn't that franchise kind of the embodiment of Michael Jordan's vision? And Michael Jordan has been the most famous gambling degenerate in all of NBA history. But also Charles Barkley. And like famously, right? Like losing thousands of dollars in a round of golf in a friendly way. That kind of ends up being a rumor that David Stern asked him to step away from the league for a year, or maybe bookies did. And he had to atone or somehow make up the money in a way that we don't know quite about. That's Charlotte. And he was he ran that franchise for a long time. LeBron James being implicated in this. Gilbert Arenas stepping into this story, being like,
LeBron hasn't been, but I'm saying LeBron hasn't been implicated at all. Just to be clear, his name was brought up. He hasn't been implicated at all.
Because Gilbert Arenas said the high stakes games were being played at LeBron's house before games, and then certain things would play out in games that he's ready to sing and snitch about, that were kind of materialized at LeBron's house during games. And him and LeBron would share winks and smirks during the game when things would happen. This is all on his pod, I guess. I don't know. Gilbert Arenas is an untrustworthy narrator. So
right, that's all I was just clarifying. I was saying there is no implication in any of the legal documents about LeBron at all. Like, he knows Damon Jones and he knows these people and this. Right. I'm just saying specifically when you say implication, you were talking about someone else said something, and in this case, Gilbert Arenas.
Right. It wasn't legal. And it sounds like you are the Mark Cuban here, being like, unless I see these X-ray specs on somebody, you don't got nothing.
I'm just clarifying that Gilbert Arenas, as you said, is not an unreliable narrator, and him saying that LeBron may be involved in something is an implication, but it's different from the one against Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier. That's all I'm saying. For those who may not have been following the story as closely, like, these are the guys who have been implicated by law, and as well as this all being tied back even to the Jonte Porter, the story that Pablo did. Like, it seems like it emerged out of that and then expanded. What I think is kind of fucked up, and I mean, I don't feel any sympathy for it, for the league on this, is that, remember how Chipotle had trouble with E. coli? Something to do with
a bunch of times.
Keeping produce fresh along these lines, whatever. But every time they would get a little outbreak somewhere, not even one that got hundreds of people sick, like one person would get sick off of lettuce in like Tempe, or Phoenix or something, and it would be a national news story like, E. coli strikes Chipotle again. These guys just they're going to give you food poisoning. You're going to shit your brains out if you eat Chipotle. And like, the stock price would plummet and they would get terrible, terrible press. The NBA has so firmly, so visibly, so publicly embraced gambling. The Chauncey Billups story, for the most part, has nothing to do with the NBA's fascination with gambling. It's about poker. It's about crime. It's about scamming and gambling and illegal games. NBA has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It just is NBA players and probably NFL players as well. But once you've said, we think gambling is great, we're giving you the parlays during games. All of our basketball media sponsored by betting companies. We're just here to tell you that your child should sports gamble. Well, then when you have a gambling issue that involves Chauncey Billups, sorry, that's your problem now. Any little gambling thing, even if it's not about betting on games, not betting on the NBA, it's just some poker shit. Sorry, NBA, you have a gambling problem.
You have more trust than I do, man. Holy cow. Tim Donaghy immediately comes to mind. I'm like, this whole thing is rigged. I watched the Bulls play the Knicks in the 90s. It was rigged then. The streets were like, is Jordan going to get another 15 free throws tonight? Are we going to somehow lose this game? Yep. And of course that's bias for New Yorkers, but Tim Donaghy exists. And he kind of spilled the beans in a book, not called Hillbilly Elegy, because it's just the only book I read. He just says, we manipulated everything.
Also, you can't tell me that some of those Lakers Western Conference Finals games against the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trailblazers, there wasn't a thumb on the scale.
I have understood Vegas and betting as smart NBA fans, sports fans, knowing that this is rigged and betting against the rigging of the thing. So it's like, of course they're going to favor Kobe Bryant here. Is there something hidden that I can make money on, knowing that they're going to give Kobe Bryant 15 free throws that are kind of questionable? And Rasheed Wallace is going to lose this game. He's not going to make the finals. That's what bettors bet against. And I have no trust in the NBA, which doesn't make me not love it. But when you say Billups is a non-NBA issue and this is gambling, I'm like, no way, dude. This is in-game stuff.
What I'm saying, just to clarify, is that they have had these issues like you're talking about forever, and they've been able to skate on it for the most part. Oh, Donaghy, he was a degenerate himself. Oh, he's lying. He's a huge liar. All those things you saw with your own eyes back when the Kings were getting absolutely rinsed by the officials just happened to happen. It is what it is. But now it's like the opposite. I'm with you. The Chauncey Billups thing is directly tied to him sitting Dame Lillard in a game and letting gamblers know. But I'm saying, to be sure, it's tied to that. But I'm only saying they can't say, well, I don't know, man. They're all operating so independently of this when you've made gambling like a focal point of your current product. You have wholesale embraced it. If you were there saying, look, we're trying to stop gambling, we hate gambling, we're opposed to it, then you could say, oh, these things are happening in the league, but the NBA isn't condoning it. They're trying to weed it out. They're trying to fight it, except they're creating these bets. They're profiting off of it. So like that was my general point, was that they can't pretend to be in opposition to all these things while also getting rich off of it.
Hit that subscribe button for Cookies Hoops, the only basketball podcast who isn't sponsored by the fucking gambling industry, which I hate, right? It is, to your point, not to cut you off, but it's money. Why aren't we getting better horror movies? Money. How come we're not getting better storytelling? Money. How come we're not getting a better league? How come the media isn't better? Money, money, money. It is because of gambling stuff. How come the LA Dodgers can buy any team they want? Well, broadcast. It's like, well, where does that broadcast money come in? Gambling. It's all greed.
Well, yeah, I think one point that I forget exactly who said it. I'm not trying to pilfer their take, but it was that, does the NBA need to keep making more and more and more money? Like, does it?
Yeah, greed is a culture.
Your point. But this is what I'm saying, right? Like, well, we can make more off of gambling, so we're going to do it. We can make more off of spreading our broadcast over 17 different channels because that'll make us more money. And we just want the valuation of every franchise to go up and up and up. And like, at some point, does that intrude upon your product? Does that compromise your league? And like, well, we don't care. The whole point is more money. The salary cap must go up by $5 to $10 million per team every year. The valuation of every franchise must double every 5 years. Like, that's just what we're doing.
Jaylen Brown is underpaid. Your favorite player is underpaid because these dudes on top of this food chain are looking at a pie that is so big, I cannot even comprehend it in the pizza shop, right? It is not that billionaires don't want money because of a cultural switch in their mind. It is an entire society based off of a number. Famously, when James Dolan when Steve Ballmer leaves a suitcase of cash at James Dolan's feet in negotiating an arena in California, in LA, and he turns to Dolan and is like, "You're poor." James Dolan is a billionaire. This is about ego. This is about monuments. This is about masculinity, and it's about rotten souls.
Like, we need to rebel,
not to sound harsh,
against this basketball system that is oppressing the masses. And they're like, yeah, but why don't you go home and do a little VJ edgecombing?
Yeah. And, I want to talk a little shit about Jaylen Brown, too, because after this gambling thing, he comes out and is just like, yo, us players need to watch out for ourselves, we're not guaranteed anything. So that's why it incentivizes people for gaming the system, to which he is mostly correct. But this is fucking over fans. So the people who are out thousands of dollars when they need those thousands of dollars because they didn't know Jonte Porter was going to get in the game or something, or Terry Rozier was going to brick a shot on purpose. This is harming the fans as usual, right? Because Jaylen is proposing an upward mobility for players while stomping out the fans that kind of supply that mobility.
I can't say that I am aware of the intimate details of how the NBA aligned with these gambling companies. I don't know. One would presume that the Players Association signed off on all this stuff. You just assume that that's the case.
CJ, it's CJ's fault. Get him out of here.
I just mean, if the players said, no, we can acknowledge how this will be a financial windfall, but we don't want to subject our players to the kind of abuse that they're going to get from fans, where everyone can now just sit there and say, you fucking bum, You were supposed to get 3 rebounds. You couldn't get 3 measly rebounds, you chump.
Right.
Because Kyrie and KD have talked about this. Like, it sucks. Someone's just yelling at you on the sideline. They're yelling at the coach, put so-and-so back in the game. He needs to get one more block. It's like this game within the game that no one enjoys. But I'm presuming, to the point that you were making about Jaylen Brown, is that the Players Association signed off on this. If they didn't, then it wouldn't be part of collective bargaining, right? I mean, I'm just saying, if someone said, Ben, that's not how it works at all, I'd be like, oh, okay. But I would just guess that the players, as partners in this endeavor, said, okay, we are down to take money from the gambling industry because it will make the salary cap go up. We'll get more money into the pool that will go to the players. So let's do it.
And here I am supporting the worker again, because not everything in a negotiation is something you enjoy. And the negotiation is signed off on, and both parties are like, we made compromises. Perhaps this compromise is something like the salary cap being like, we hate gambling, but we want some of that revenue because you're capping us with our deals. We hate it. We hate everything about it, but we will accept these terms for a few years because the money's going to go somewhere and we don't like it. I don't know, for example. But I do think the idea of gambling is fraught. And we've talked about this, right? Like, it's deep within the culture of America, in the stock market, in the draft lottery, in who gets the shots, who converts 50% of them, 36% of them, 29% of them. It is rooted in this fascination with magic and predictability. Talking about magicians who count cards. I think there's a certain irony and sadness there. But it preys on the hubris. Sort of like when a good offense tricks a good defense into thinking that they're good at something, and vice versa. A good defense tricks an offense into thinking that they're good at something. Run Brunson. It seems like that's the way you'll win, and that's actually the way you lose.
So, other than the incredibly entertaining and wild gambling conspiracy, which overshadowed the first week of the NBA season, we did get the first week of the NBA season. After months of no basketball, or basketball that counts, here it is. Immediate conclusion. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Victor Wembanyama. Set in stone. That's it. Those are the 3 of our lifetime.
It's crazy, right? Because obviously, Shohei Ohtani has a lot of home runs left to hit. He has a lot of strikeouts to accrue. But in the frame of when it counts in a game, in the World Series, or in the beginning of the 25-26 season, just with my eyes and on paper, Victor Wembanyama is the best basketball player I've ever seen outside of Michael Jordan, who, within a sliver, was dominant in a way I've never seen a professional athlete.
I look at that idea of a generational player, and oddly, that's become an overused term. This is a generational point guard talent, a generational this. No, generational is MJ, LeBron, Wemby. That's generational. Right. Every 20 years, one of these guys comes along. And in some ways, we have to feel a bit of sympathy for the Kevin Durants or the SGAs. You're going to get a title. You're going to get an MVP. Who knows? We'll see. But you're going to be celebrated. You are also going to be overshadowed by a towering figure that will go down in history in a way that you never will. Even if SGA kept doing this and Wemby got knocked off the face of the earth, like, I'm not saying I want him to be Danny Ainge. I just mean if he didn't exist, SGA might go out and win 4 MVP awards, but he still wouldn't fall into that category. There's just a difference between being the best of mortals and then whatever the hell Victor Wembanyama is.
Yeah, and the specter that is always looming is his injuries. And last year he was balling in a way that we were excited about, and then he vanished because of a blood clot. And that's always the worry with somebody that we've never seen the prototype for, who, by the way, is a champion of the short king. AD, you feel small? Oh, Jokic, do you have to look up and say, and sun yourself in that context? Like, Victor Wembanyama, I claim for all short kings, he is our king because he is our royalty, because he is the one who makes the rest of the population feel what we feel.
He is the great humbler.
He sure is.
You've been walking around, looking down your nose at short kings. Welcome to the club, buddy.
Him and Bol Bol seem to have a spiritual center that's unfuckwithable that I love. But, it doesn't really matter about Wemby's injuries, or does it? Like, Luka got traded because he's always hurt. He's currently hurt first week in the season after all those men's magazine covers and getting in shape. Like, he's hurt again. Wemby, I pray for a long run. We discussed this on previous episodes that, like, this team build perhaps isn't as exciting as it could be within his window, but I do feel sympathy for Julius Randle with hops. It was supposed to be his moment, and he played Wemby, and we were just like, you're in two different categories here. Wemby is something to be considered awe-inspiring, and Cooper Flag is exciting. Two different things. And Wemby's not a beautiful player. He's awkward. That reverse jam wasn't that cool looking. It's just more of like being aghast at something that is unidentifiable, which is exciting in a different way. But I think he will suffer from aesthetics. I think there will eventually be a chorus of critics who say he has an unfair advantage because of his physicality, which is a skill. But I think in terms of human nature, we are drawn to people we think remind us of ourselves, like Michael Jordan.
This may be true when it comes to sneaker sales and just overall like coolness factor. At the same time, Michael Jordan was kind of anomalous in basketball because prior to that, it was Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain.
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah was in that mix. He was a small guy, but it was the sport that was dominated by giants, and that was just
Dr.
part of
J.
the deal. Mm-hmm. Here comes George Mikan, whatever. So I think what you're saying is true, that someone like Ant, his dunks are going to look cooler, his crossovers are going to look cooler, but there's
Allen
also
Iverson.
a sense of Iverson. But these can kind of be compartmentalized because remember how popular Shaq was. He couldn't sell sneakers exactly, but he was.
But no one
Shaquille
considers Shaq as top 5 of all time. No one considers Tim Duncan top 5 of all time, which they kind of are, right?
But I think with Wemby, I don't know, man. I haven't laughed watching a game like I did during the one against the Mavs. Maybe since some Curry moments where him just going absolutely lights out, just throwing things up and everything is dropping.
Yeah, that
I
happened.
really think LeBron, but really Shaq is the easiest comparison. He would just get the ball and like lower his shoulder and just dunk on somebody. Like, what did I just see? It goes to your point about him turning giants into short kings.
Yeah.
When Derek Lively takes a jumper and Wemby like volleyball spikes it out of the air flat foot. Like I don't like to use this word, but I guffawed, Andrew. I guffawed. Then he ran down and hit the step back 3 and I chortled.
Yeah, he chortled. Yeah, there's this famous clip of Embiid walking by him during shoot around being like, what? And their picture went viral this week of AD looking gassed and Wemby behind him just smiling, like gassed for different reasons. But yo, be humble, tall men. Humble yourselves. We're down here. The air is fine down here, is what Wemby says.
So through 3 games early on, it's early. Wemby is currently putting up 33 a game, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 6 blocks. Hyper efficient. Obviously, advanced metrics categories are through the roof, leading the league and all that shit.
Shooting has been uneven, still great, but shooting last game 3 was uneven.
But currently leading the league in blocks, and then you go to advanced metrics per PER, block percentage, defensive win shares per 48, defensive box plus minus, and then leading in value over replacement player. Not that we care about those things. It's also worth mentioning that he's played an average of 31 minutes a game. What is that part?
Yeah.
He's not playing 40 minutes. He's playing 31 a game.
I have to do a stupid basketball podcast question now. Given same age, same window, you get these 2 players' entire career. You picking Wemby or Jokic?
You mean Jokic at 20?
Yeah. Obviously, Jokic is older. He has a championship already. But let's say this type of player. You take Wemby or Jokic?
Wemby all day.
I think I would too. I think his rim protection. I asked that because Jokic is not done, man. The way he orchestrates a game. There was a game last week where Jokic just didn't shoot because he was messing around. He was like, I'm just going to dime and rebound. You guys do the work. That kind of basketball genius is also rare at his size.
I mean, Jokic is the better offensive player. Whether Wemby, as he develops as a player, he clearly has like more reliable long range shooting. He's just bigger. He can do more stuff. But the Wemby
Jokic never got hurt.
Yeah. But the Wemby selection is based on his defense. That's
insane.
We've just never seen a defender of this caliber ever to go along with him putting up 33 and 12 in 31 minutes. So like Jokic to me is the offensive GOAT from the center position, at least generationally. We can't say Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, they're like 50 years apart, but I would take Wemby because of the defense. That's all. Long answer to short question.
Yeah. This gets crazy, right? Because I see people on Sixers Twitter being like, VJ Edgecombe has as many threes as Ben Simmons. I'm like, this is true. But Ben Simmons also made 3 All-Star teams and made an All-NBA team. So VJ probably does none of that stuff. And Wemby's going to have hopefully a long, healthy career. But Jokic has a bunch of most valuable player awards and a championship, right? So like this is cheating a little bit because he's already proven that he's as good as we think Wemby will be. Never seen a defender like Wemby in my life. I would say I've never seen a passer like Jokic in my life.
Oh, 100% valid. It's if Wemby was not making these, sort of AI ass leaps in terms of going from being like, oh, he can do some interesting stuff. Like, well, I guess he's shooting really long threes now, to year 3. Okay, he's hyper efficient. He's like hitting Anthony Davis in the chest with his shoulder, knocking him backwards and 2-hand jamming. The Skynet style exponential learning curve. I'm like, is this it? Probably not, right? Year 3, he's like 22. He doesn't reach his prime for 4 years.
I don't believe that. Prime is hard to describe. Sure. You're right, but yeah.
I just mean we don't have the quote unquote final form of Wemby. Maybe it's this, and it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous and incredible. And as we know with the Celtics, Jaylen Brown's playing pretty good for Jaylen Brown, but it takes Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Cornette. Like all these pieces have to go into Wemby being a standalone conversation, which I think will happen. Like I think this team is good enough for how amazing he is. But the hyperbole is tough because I love the Ohtani conversation because in comparison to Wemby, baseball player for the Dodgers, pitcher, hitter, had a performance in like this month that was 3 home runs, struck out double-digit batters. Never seen it. But before that, it was always hypothetical, and it's still kind of unsustainable. Kevin Durant is standing there, a 7-footer, being like, I might be the most efficient player of all time, still dropping 30 points on my zillionth team. What about me? I'm like, well, I have the bravery to call him the second best player of all time. But as it stands now, Wemby has inexplicably leapfrogged everybody. I don't think there's another player that can compare to him in his healthy form.
I agree. It's also funny that we talked a lot about the Spurs build. Currently, they're 3-0. They have the best net rating in the entire NBA. They've been slightly better with Wemby off the floor.
This is the Tatum thing. It's weird. It's a small sample size.
I mean, again,
where Tatum is a large sample size.
I'm only bringing this up because of our hot takes were that they can't build this team without Wemby. It's like only based on Wemby, and like, wait, I guess it's working with Luke Cornette. Fine, but
first 3 games,
again,
like the Knicks are not this good or bad.
No, none of this actually matters. I'm just bringing it up as like our hot takes were like, don't know about this build, but we believe Wemby can carry them to the promised land. It's like, no, though, actually the numbers are showing that this Harrison Barnes-led team is slightly better than the one with Wemby. You're like, all right, I can't figure anything out.
And on-off is bad because Wemby leaves the court and they're in good shape and they beat up on bad lineups, but my least favorite.
I'm not putting any stock in that at all. I'm only just saying when you look at what's happened so far, it wasn't necessarily what we predicted. But we did say that Wemby is the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
We did say that.
Quick hot takes would be Castle is probably bad. Dylan Harper, probably good. Sohan, probably not usable. Cornette, nice. Like, I don't like this build as much as all those high draft picks and all those Rookie of the Year awards would show, right? You tell me all those elements are in place, and I look at it and I'm like, I like De'Aaron Fox. He's going to come back. Sheesh. He should be able to be good enough for Wemby to do his thing. If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be elated right now because you can afford that Stephen Castle is so more in the Michael Carter Williams zone of Rookie of the Year than Wemby.
And they also have some draft assets from other teams, specifically the Hawks.
Which an overall pick. Oh God, it's rigged. It's breaking. The NBA wanted to award VJ Edgecombe to their beloved Sixers. All Silver wanted to do was to reward his beloved Sixers.
Adam Silver and the fellas from Apollo Global Capital or whatever it's called, Leon Black, the lads.
Give him number 3, Edgecombe. Redraft, Edgecombe, flag.
Some of them may have been on the island. Who can say even?
Yeah. I mean, the first week is so
logs, whatnot.
Because the hot takes are fun and the fatigue has not set in yet after like game 20. But like Austin Reeves, top 10 player, top 5 player. Ace Bailey, bust. Obviously, he's on a minutes restriction. Jalen Brunson, MVP. Then he gets beat by the Heat. Like everything seems so seismic right now.
I agree. Let's hone it down a little bit here and let's talk about the rookies, right? We talked about Dylan Harper, who's not shot that well, but had a good game last time. He's a talented guy.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
As the Sixer fan here, thoughts about VJ Edgecombe. His immediate ability to play quality basketball has made it much easier to deal with the fact that Joel Embiid is still moving like the Embiid from last year and the year before that. He does not have the ability to get up and down the court at a high level. He's not getting from point A to point B to get rebounds, to protect the rim. And again, he is just coming back from this injury. Fingers crossed, but it may be what it is. VJ Edgecombe just being a not only good player early on, but a fun player early on. Like, he's dunking, he looks cool, he's mature in a fun way versus a stodgy way. Really made Embiid's very visible decline more palatable.
And Zaire Smith's disappointment more palatable, because he reminds me of that, right? And I like him because he's proven already to be scalable. I think when McCain is back and PG is back, he will get less shots and probably less minutes, but you can probably be certain that he is scalable in an Austin Reeves way, right? Like, we need you tonight. And it's like, okay, I can do this, where it might be harder for like Peyton Pritchard, who's going to be good too. But it is not an automatic assumption. And I think with VJ, there's optimism there.
And I still go back to our prior conversation. We said he's not going to be that efficient as a rookie. No. He just won't. I know he shot really well from three that first game. I would not say that would be the baseline. And he's down to like 375 from three. He's like 45% from the floor. True shooting percentage is like 54, 55%. Like, that all seems, even in some ways, a little higher than I would expect for a guy who's really young. But to your point, that he can go out there and just be averaging 24 points through two games and 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Like, that's great. Amazing.
Done.
That's
number 3.
We can work on the efficiency, but you can rebound in the NBA, you can pass in the NBA. Your defense looks okay. You can get to the rim. Can't draw fouls yet. That's a big thing he needs to get better at. But still, great.
My criticism of him during the draft was not enough mental and physical wiggle. He cannot create his own shots, cannot draw fouls, all the stuff that makes superstars. In terms of the Thompson twin level of star, yeah, he should be able to reach that. But as featured kind of faces of franchises, that would be unfair to put up upon him.
And we'll see, because again, if Philly could play lineups with more spacing, we may just see that his first step is just too quick for people to guard. And it may, he may just be able to do that. He can just get around the initial defender most of the time.
Westbrook made it work.
Despite not having a lot of wiggle, despite not having a great handle, he just might be more athletic than other people. But anyway, he looks good. The one NBA rookie who would be the clear-cut choice for ROY right now, our boy, Cedric Coward.
One of the best jerseys to buy. What do you see about Coward that you enjoy?
Him not missing threes seems like a really good attribute, that he just doesn't miss shots.
Is it a small sample, or you think he's going to be Reed Shepherd at Kentucky?
It is a small sample for sure. But he was one of those players that draft gurus like yourself, not me, and our buddy Isaac, shout out to him. Coward was a guy that analytics people loved. And he got hurt, and he had a weird trajectory where he was older than other players because he went and played D3 maybe, and then JUCO.
Right.
Had a serpentine route to being a lottery pick. But the people who are really into like metrics-based analytics about draft prospects, like, this is the guy. He might be the best player in the class. And after Cooper Flag or something. And actually, I think it was one of the True Hoop guys. I forget exactly which one. And I read the article, and it didn't seem as if they had watched a ton of college basketball, which again, I don't either. This is not judgment. But they were like, okay, fine, Cooper Flagg. We're not going to go out on a limb and say that this guy will be better than Cooper Flagg, but we think he's the second best.
Right. It was a bias smorgasbord, right? Because Cooper Flagg, golden boy, high school, goes to the one and done bus factory, puts on that jersey, and everyone's like, yeah, he's everything we want. This guy, Coward, unconventional path to the draft. But if you put him in Cooper Flagg's trajectory, the number one overall pick. And that's what you're trying to identify in situations like that. Like, what are the biases? It's like, oh, he's kind of moved around to leagues and teams that we don't see on TV that much. Luka Doncic, how did he fall? Like, we just don't know what a European player is all about. You know, it's like
Right.
all the way over there in Europe. Howard's all the way over there in the shadows of college basketball. But there's not that many prospects to follow, and he rose fast. And we'll see. I have hope for him. No rookie is this good ever.
That's what I was going to say. Like, he's looked really good, and you would say if he would be the number one rookie right now, but he's also shot 73% from three and 69% from two. So unless these things hold up, which would make him the greatest player in the history of the NBA, I think we'll have a leveling effect on.
But this is
Shoot
the
the
right
three, Coward.
yeah. He is on the right side of skepticism, though. Same with Edgecombe, right? And obviously Cooper Flagg. It's like no rookie is that good, except maybe LeBron James. But we have proof already, empirical proof, that they can scale up eventually when they get older, when they get a larger role. Unlike Ace Bailey, who's on the other side of it, being like, well, he hasn't been healthy yet. He has an illness that we can't explain. Like, we don't know if he can scale up. He probably will be a steal in the draft, but we don't have the data yet in week 2 that we have with Coward and Edgecombe and Cooper Flagg, who are safe players, and Dylan Harper, safe.
So before we leave, let's talk a little Cooper Flagg, though, because game 1, the classic, welcome to the NBA, kid. You're going against Victor Wembanyama. It's like, all right.
Unfair.
Why are we even talking about these guys in the same breath?
Yeah.
Unfair in many, many ways. Also fair in many ways. It's like, oh, right. You're the best of mortals prospects. Yeah. This is an immortal prospect over here. You guys are different. Yeah. One's a god and one is man.
One's earthly, one is an alien, right? And
one is divine.
Imagine Cooper Flagg on the Celtics, man. He was 1 year away, the 0-3 Celtics, because the amount of alerts and chatter around Cooper Flagg is awesome. You know, it's exciting. It's like, he has arrived. Check out this dunk. And I look at it, I'm like, I miss Julius Randle. It is wonderful. He is exciting. Wrong era, as we talked about. Inhabiting Earth with Victor Wembanyama is going to be tricky in terms of marketing. His old man shoes are going to be tricky in terms of marketing. But I'm like, the buzz around his debut week, I don't think Reza Shea deserved it, but like, he's not that much better than Reza Shea. He is better for sure. Zion Williamson was a more interesting rookie than Cooper Flagg to me. Most number 1 picks are more interesting than Cooper Flagg. Is it just that he's like a cartoon drawing of a white basketball player?
Look, he's a white jammer.
Awesome.
We needed this. We needed this to bring the country together under the... Yeah. His last name is Flagg. He is a psyop. He is 100% designed in a lab by the CIA and Ezra Klein.
Oh, damn. Shots fired at skinny jeans. I saw him in the bookstore wearing skinny jeans. It was crazy.
Psyop.
Yeah. But Cooper Flagg has not shown the wiggle we've been looking for, mentally or physically, but like, straight line player, exciting. He's boxy. He is lined up to the rim. He waits a split second to see how the defense settles, and then he attacks. if he's your bag, he's your bag. But like, he is not my. That's not where my intrigue falls in terms of young players.
He's shown a good trajectory over the first few games. Started very rough.
He's good.
He had his best game last night. I think he 22-5-5 or something. I don't have it in front of me, but
it's awesome for an 18-year-old. Yeah, sick.
Again, he's going to be good. I still don't believe in his ability to score in isolation, but that was always going to come on later. I think him being part of a Mavs team that doesn't really have guards was a little strange for him. But now that D'Lo played like 25 minutes last game and allowed him to play off the ball more, he got kind of looks that you'd want Cooper Flagg to have instead of Jason Kidd just saying, "Hey, Coop, you're my point guard." It's like, well, no, you're going to lose to the Wizards with this bullshit, dude. Yeah. Cooper Flagg is not an NBA point guard. He was not a college point guard. Just because you were a tall guard yourself and a genius, Jason Kidd, does not mean you can hand him the basketball and make it so.
Did you see that rumor that someone overheard Jason Kidd talking to his wife on the phone and be like, "I can't handle any more of this shit"? And everyone's like, "What can he handle?" Nico? I don't know. Nicholas Harrison vision for the Mavs looks interesting. Did you see, and this ties into Cooper Flagg, did you see the Knicks post-game celebration, the new one, where they give the defensive player on their team Timberlands and a hard hat? Amazing,
you get
right?
The golden chopped cheese and a Fat Joe Locks mixtape.
I am a short dude who is a minority, but I'm annoying, so I lean into my annoyingness. It's because it's all I got. The Knicks, good job with that. Lean into the stereotypical culture that is the 90s John Starks, Anthony Mason, rest in peace, Charles Oakley squad. So whatever. But how this relates back to Cooper Flagg is I love him quite a bit because he's a floor slapper. He has that dog. He is visibly trying really hard, where a player like Wemby, maybe not visibly trying very hard in terms of like clenching his teeth, slapping the hardwood, sweating, right? And where that visual is an indicator of better things to come, it is also indicator of our projection of hard work, ethics. L. Ron Hubbard, like from the bottom to the top, right? It's just like it takes heart. Wemby has the silver spoon of height. Cooper Flagg works for his success. And I don't know if that overcomes his limitations as a basketball player, but it's overcome a lot of criticism so far.
Yeah, I look at the way Sixers Nation embraces Kelly Oubre and Dominic Barlow, who's another worker. Like, This is all just hostility towards Joe and PG that is under the veil of being really admiring of guys who work hard, guys who leave it on the hardwood. At least they're out there trying. At least they're available. I'm like, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I hear it. You don't really love Dominic Barlow or Kelly Oubre. You're just mad at the team's better players. This is just anger.
The players who get paid. Yeah, the salary cap players. I love it. This is what the first week of the season's for. And thankfully, sort of like Austin Reeves, we've come with our A game.
You know who always comes with the A game?
In our contract year. No gambling websites. Get out of here.
I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.